Hey Paul, thanks for the phone call. I was just taking a look at your site in a little bit more detail here to sort of see what we could do. In a nutshell, what we do is here's an example of one of our templates here. This is the Gotham template, right? If you go online, it's the Gotham one right here, and you can definitely download it and open it up in a program like Expression Web, which I'm showing right here. And Expression Web is kind of the modern version. It basically be front page, I think front page 12 or something like that. But it's like the Expression Web 4 is the would be the seventh iteration after front page 2003. So maybe front page 2010 or something like that. But anyways, long story short, you can just go and create your own website just like you did the first time in front page. You can do the same thing in Expression Web, except the template is sort of pre-built, so you can take your content, right, and copy it into existing pages. We have pre-designed pages. All the text in the pages can just be deleted and your own text put in place. Same with images and that sort of a thing. And that's what a lot of pretty much all of our customers do when they buy a template, right? There's pre-designed pages in the root folder, and we have an extra pages folder with different options for this is in what we call the Pro package. And you can take any page and rename it. Just an example here, I renamed one to balloons, and you could give it whatever name you wanted, right? Because you can just take an existing layout. Say you like the layout of the home one page, you could just copy and paste it, right? And then rename it to, you know, Gorilla or uh, balloons. I can't even spell today. .htm, something like that, right? So that's all you have to do. So you can create as many new pages as you want based on the examples we've given you, right? So it's just a matter of, and I recommend this in the tutorials when you first open up the site and you're getting used to the new template. Just go through each page, just open it up in a window, just sort of select one, hit F12 on your keyboard. That opens it up and you go, oh yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what it's going to look like in my web browser. So with this sort of layout, is this what I want to use for a particular page or not? The service we offer is a content transfer service, and basically what we do is we start at $199 for 10 pages, and then we just have to review the site to see how much work is involved. Um, but basically we take all the content from your page, like so, and we would pop it in. We'd go and we'd download a template, we'd recreate your pages, and we'd take your SEO information and copy that all over, copy your content, images, all that sort of thing over into the new template and whatnot so that it aligns properly. The only thing is, and I noticed with your site, to be honest, it might be we'd have to do a bit of a review of a couple of pages because what I'm concerned about is the images in the pages and just making sure that they resize and whatnot. I was just playing around with it in the browser here, and what I do is I just sort of scale it on down to make sure that it's going to work, and in most cases I think it does. So in some cases what we end up having to do is with the images, if they're really large images in the page, right, but you fortunately have a lot of small ones, so that works. But if we actually have to go through, and I'm just going to use a tool called Firebug, and your pictures have a width, you see that, and a height applied to them. This goes against what we call responsive design. In other words, when you have a width and a height applied to an image, they don't respond well to mobile devices. I'll give you an example here. I'm going to open up a page here with some pictures on it. I'm just going to go to the catalog page here for a second and see if that's going to do the trick. All right. See how there's some images right here side by side? Well, and watch this. As I change the page width, notice how the images scale down in size like that. That's an important part of what we call responsive design, is allowing images to change size for mobile devices. And the only way you do that is, I talked about that Twitter framework, Twitter CSS framework that we use. Well, that's what does it. But the only thing is your images can't have an actual width applied to them. So we would actually have to physically go through and just double click in each image and just make sure that there was no width or height applied to it. And that might take just a little bit extra time. I mean, we're talking, you have a few images and it takes, 2 to 5 seconds an image to do that. So it's not a big deal, but it just might incur a little bit extra cost to make sure that everything was, responsive and whatnot. But In a nutshell, what we'd end up doing is like taking all your content, putting it into a new site, a new template, and we would make sure that the background image here, your logo was put in here, any social media links, your menu is set up, and this is where we recommend, and I take a look at a site and I go, okay, here's what I recommend. There's 11 menu buttons here, and that's a little bit much for a tablet. What we want to do is we want to keep the common things like gorilla balloons, holiday balloons, animal balloons, sport balloons, patriotic. All that could be linked under one button called balloons. So we could actually, when setting up your menu, say, hey, we have a home button. Let's change pages to balloons. And then when somebody clicks on balloons, then you have all your different balloon page options here. So it's a little bit more compact and easier to navigate on different devices, right? And then we could take some of the different components that are already in the page, and then we just try and match them up best to what might work. Like in this case, you have 11 buttons here. I would probably take, in this example, in this particular template, we have this little, what we call a carousel, right? It just takes it has some, a little image, it has a little heading, some text, and what it does is it just goes back and forth like so, right? We could actually link these to the different balloon pages as well, just to add one more level of navigation, because that's really all that it is. It's just one additional, or we can just get rid of it altogether. And then we get rid of whatever images are up here and put a bigger, whatever big impact image you want to use, we could use them up here, right, in the top of the page. Right, and then we'd put your content, just take your content page for page and recreate the pages for you. Like I said, that starts off, there's the cost of the template, so you only need a standard version. I think that's $45 for that, and if we were doing the content transfer, and then it would start at $199, and I just want to have the opportunity to take a look at your site and make sure there's no surprises. And sometimes we download these things, you think there's 10 pages and there's actually more like 24 or 30, and then we'd say, okay, well, which pages are you still using? Because a lot of times there's old pages that they don't go anywhere, they're not used anymore, and we don't want to waste time updating something that's not being used. And then I'd want to take a look at the pics and just make sure, as an example, work on one page and make sure whatever time is invested to make it mobile friendly, by taking the image sizes off and sort of converting it over to mobile, that we had a plan in place for that. So